Chances are that in our lifetime, we're going to see some pretty bad stuff happen on this planet due to overpopulation, and science is taking its time solving these problems. A long time ago, it seemed that when it came to the most important aspects of life, people believed that mythical forces were in control. Gods and imaginary monsters controlled the weather, crops, and the forces of life and death. And they were just playing with the idea of a real scientific process. This was the age of mythology, where people were ignorant of facts and believed only in what they could not see. The development of the modern scientific method during the Renaissance marked the beginning of the scientific age, the age we live in today, where people are ignorant of what is not observable, and we only believe what we can see. We are only playing with the idea of the mystical, and we do not take it seriously. It is long overdue and necessary for us as a people to evolve to a new age, something well beyond both mythology and science. Imagine the future, maybe just 100 years from now. The scientific community still has yet to develop technology that will solve most of the biggest problems facing our world today. Climate change, sustainable energy, clean water, and overpopulation. The planet has reached its limit of people. Pulitzer Prize-winning author and professor at both Harvard and Duke University states in his book, The Future of Life, that the Earth can only support about 10 billion people. We will outgrow our planet. The only humane option for our species' population is to continue to grow. Does this planet have the capability to support us? It is generally accepted that it is too late to reverse the consequences of global warming, and the world has a tough time ahead. The world's nations are already fighting wars over oil, and soon they'll be fighting wars over clean water. We're already seeing the effects of climate change and will soon suffer the collapse of agriculture due to drought, floods, and fires. Surprisingly, the CIA keeps track of this stuff. They predict that in about 30 years, the world will run out of oil, and at the same time, clean, fresh, drinkable water will become scarce. Keep in mind that even if the problem of pollution and resources are solved, society must develop some form of population control that violate the rights of the individual. My argument is on the basis that science is rooted in the domain of logic. Science and logic dictate certain truths about the universe. For example, nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. If the future of humanity comes to the point where we're going to need to find a new home, logic dictates that best case scenario, it will take years to travel to the nearest inhabitable planet, possibly inhabitable planet. Last year, NASA discovered a planet that is possibly inhabitable, and it is 12 light years away. Realistically, we will need to travel hundreds of light years. I think it is obvious that taking hundreds of years to travel or even communicate between worlds is simply not going to work. So in order to survive, we'll have to defy logic. Science is not keeping up with the technological demand to solve the problems of our survival. Science is fundamentally a slow process. Point being, if we're going to do things like travel to other stars, we need to defy logic, which goes hand in hand with loosening our paranoid dependence on science. Back to my comparison of the mythological age and the scientific age. I believe it is essential for our survival to evolve into a new age where it is okay to believe and utilize something, even if it is not dissected and completely understood. It is okay to believe things that defy logic. It is obvious that there are things that science will never have an answer for. Take love, for example. Sure, science's answer for love is that it is a simple biological function. But deep down, most of us know that there is much more to it than that. Beauty. Why do we find art and music beautiful? Science says that we find art beautiful because there's a certain amount of parallel lines, or that we like a song because the rhythm reminds us of our mother's heartbeat. But again, most of us know that there is something almost truly spiritual spiritual about a good song or a true work of art. I don't have the answer for what this new age will be, and I realize that talking about abandoning science is dangerous. I do know that in this new ideology, we must find a balance between the seen and the unseen, the measurable and the immeasurable. Just as science is our conduit for truly understanding and utilizing the physical world, we must develop a methodology to truly understand and utilize the world beyond the physical. The world where love, beauty, intuition, and real human connection exists. Imagine another version of the future, a pilot flying by worlds and galaxies, images that are more beautiful than anything we can imagine. The pilot was raised in a society that accepts and pursues the truths of the illogical. This ship runs cool and quiet with no moving parts, no maintenance, no exhaust, and can run practically for eons. The ship was built from a technology that found a balance between physics and spirituality. It utilizes forces in the universe that are beyond conscious understanding, and because of that, it accomplishes feats that are beyond our understanding. Thus, this scenario could be describing the future of the human race. This new age can open the doors for us to become the enlightened, star-traveling, mystical beings of the universe. There are more dilemmas we face other than overpopulating the planet. Our society is becoming depressed and socially inept. Advances in science are not keeping up with these more delicate and commonly overlooked issues. It is time that our society begin to take these things serious in a constructive and mature way. Instead of making up new rules and social norms, we need to begin to study the rules that are already there and have been there since the beginning of the universe. The world beyond the physical and logical has always been there. The problem is that because of science, we were raised and taught that if science can't prove it, then it must not be true. I encourage you to really keep an open mind and pursue the call to grow and evolve. We've spent the last 200 years devoutly following our minds. It is time that we really take a conscientious step up so that we are no longer held back by science and by what we can only see. Do not abandon science, and it is your responsibility to determine when something is fact or fiction. But we need to use science as a tool and not be a tool to science. There is a world beyond what science can teach us, and I hope to see you there one day.